One day at a time, one shift at a time, one decision at a time. Who should be in the goal for that one shift at a time, one period at a time? Game 5.
Yeah, that is $1 million question right there.
Freddie Andersen has not been as sharp as he was in the regular season and early part of the postseason. I hate to say it, I'm not surprised. I don't disagree with Rod Brind'amour often, right? And I completely understand those of you that want to jump in our YouTube comments and say that Rod Brind'amour has forgotten more about hockey than I'll ever know, because I agree with you. But I do have insight into how athletes tick. I do have insight into watching them and seeing the way their brains work. I saw this coming. Freddie was out of position a few times, gave up at least one goal because of it in Game 4. In a game that ended up coming down to the wire, it might have been the difference. He has had a hard time locating the puck on rebounds his last 2 starts.
To me, the second goal scored by the Rangers by Alexis Lafreniere, that's the goal you got to have back.
Yeah. I mean, you'd like to have it back. You'd like to have, not need to have it back, right?
I mean, you want to have all 3 back if you really want to. But
for being honest here, and take a couple back early in the series also. But Freddie was back in the starter's crease today at morning skate. I'm gonna go ahead and be on record that Pyotr Kochetkov should be in net tonight.
All right, mark it down.
Mark it down. I refuse to be surprised that Freddie is getting less sharp as he plays in darn near every game after we saw him play some of the best hockey of his career during a straight rotation with Pyotr Kochetkov for a month. Since Freddie came back from the blood clotting issue, when Freddie was playing absolutely lights out, it was every other night. And you could tell there was something about that worked for him. You could tell he was not only making the saves that he should, and no, not 100%, nobody does, but he was making mostly the saves that he should and occasionally the spectacular. His creativity was on another level. His focus was on another level. Pyotr Kochetkov was more than good enough to get Freddie to that level. And, oh, by the way, Pyotr Kochetkov was not bad. And I would expect if Pyotr were to play tonight, I'd expect him to be better than he was in Game 3, because in Game 3 he played well despite not playing for a month. So now if he's playing for the second time in a handful of nights, I'd expect him to be better. I refuse to be surprised by this because we saw it happening. Rod Brind'amour today, let's jump to the Rod clip here, Graham. Rod Brind'amour today was asked by the media what goes into deciding the starting goalie.
A lot of what goes into it now is because, obviously that's the number one concern. Okay, how you feeling? And then, we had a good rotation going. Do we go back to that just based on when we had our most success? There's been a lot of discussions.
It's not just how are you feeling. Okay, I want to emphasize that. First of all, I don't know about any of you, but I've never spoken to any athlete and gotten an honest answer, hey, how you feeling? You mean before a playoff game, you think I'm going to be honest? My back hurts. I'm out of breath. I didn't sleep well last night. Heck no, you're not going to get that from any level of athlete. You're going to get, feel great, coach. Game day ready, coach. You're going to get whatever they have to say because they're athletes. And even if he was honest with you and he said, hey, you know what, I am a little tired. Like, that doesn't make the decision because it's so much more. It's not just physical fatigue. It's mental fatigue. It's competitive fatigue. And you're not even competing against, like, are you Freddie Andersen level? It's, are you 1% worse than top Pyotr Kochetkov level? Right? You're not comparing him to like a replacement level goalie. I think Pyotr Kochetkov earned the right to be a big part of this postseason. I think he earned the right to be a big part of this postseason. And he did that by playing really gosh darn well throughout the season as they went on their way to being third in the President's Trophy race. And really, even better than that, since that player's only meeting in December, which after that he's been essentially, 92% save percentage. Like I said, I don't disagree with Rod Brind'amour often, and I'm open to Freddie playing really well tonight. But it's a game of percentages.
Yeah.
And I think as of right now, the percentages that Freddie is going to give up on that really frustrates us are getting higher based on the fact that he's not getting the mental break that he did when he was playing so well at the end of the regular season.
And on the other side of things, you know that you're getting ready to get your best game out of Shesterkin, especially with how he gave up those 2 early ones in the first period. You know you're going to get a major push from the Rangers. They're going to be feeding off the crowd. So for Freddie, not saying that he can't do this, but this absolutely has to be a game where you cannot give up the soft goals.
Let's hear from the captain, Jordan Stahl, on if they have advantage on Igor now.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's always nice to get 4 on a good goalie, but he's a good goalie for a reason. I'm sure he's going to come back with a better effort, so we're going to have to try to find a way to do it again and create as much offense as we can against a good goalie.
I don't think, There are these comparisons, right? Like Igor versus the Canes goalie, Igor versus Freddie. Igor's not going to take a single shot on Freddie. Freddie's not going to take a single shot on Igor unless things get real crazy, right? And I'm talking about real crazy.
I hope it doesn't get to that.
But it's just like, we'll talk about a little bit later on during the starting 5. The NFL announced its Ravens-Chiefs to open their season. And every graphic's going to have Lamar versus Mahomes, Lamar versus Mahomes, Mahomes versus Lamar. They're not going to play a single down on the field at the same time as the other. So don't make your decisions in goalie, just like you don't make your decisions on quarterback based on how the other goalie's going to play or what you think the other goalie's going to do. If I had to bet, I wouldn't take either of those guys over Igor Shesterkin right now. Right? If I'm picking who's going to have the better game in goal, I'm taking Igor. But that's not how you judge it, right? It's Igor versus the Canes attack. So if the Canes get 40 shots and the Rangers get 20 shots, you don't have to be as good as Shesterkin. Right? It's a sliding scale based on the opponents. So when I'm talking about who should play, Freddie or Pyotr, it's irrelevant to what Shesterkin's doing, unless you think, if Stahl behind closed doors is really saying like, hey, we've got a tell. He's not getting his blocker up fast enough. We're going to score 12. Then you probably do take the veteran goalie and just say, hey, don't let the wheels fall off. If you can give up 4 or less, we win. But that's not happening. I guarantee it. There's no secret tell. It's not like Igor Shesterkin sitting at a poker table right now, and every time he's bluffing, he's opening an Oreo like the movie Rounders.
Yeah, there is no secret advantage. There is no secret advice to getting pucks past Shesterkin. That's why it's been so difficult for the Hurricanes to score. That's why in that first goal in game 4, Kuznetsov with the sniper, it was so weird because those are just the kind of kind of goals that
did that just happen? Was that koozie?
I had to take time just to figure out, did that really go in?
Is he doing the eagle dance? He's doing the eagle dance.
Those are just the kind of goals that Shesterkin we don't see him allow.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect many of those. Good thing you took advantage of it when it happened. You got the win. But when I'm talking Pyotr versus Freddie, which is what this conversation has been about, I'm talking Pyotr versus Freddie. And a lot of it is, what does it take to get the best out of Freddie? Like, it's a 7-game series, right? If you ran the rotation from the beginning, you could have had Freddie every other game, won every one of Freddie's starts. 4-3, you win in 7. If Pyotr Kochetkov is good enough to steal a game or two, you're now closing it, right? You're closing the gap. And by the way, again, like I said, I'm on the record saying I want Kochetkov. I was on the record saying I want the rotation during the Islanders series. Imagine that. What if you just ran the rotation during the Islanders series? Even if it took you one more game to close it out, now you have Freddie in this series not having played whatever it is, 8 of 9 games instead of playing 5. A little bit more rested, a little bit more locked in, a little bit less likely to give up a softie. I've been on record